replay. And Eric, I can ask you maybe to just admit the people while I'm starting the presentation, if it's okay with you.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. So I'm going to share my screen that you should be able to see in a few seconds. So like I mentioned, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Teachers' Day meeting. So we are very happy to welcome all of you for the first meeting that we organize for the Architecture Student Contest competition that we will organize next year in Lisbon in Portugal. So before we get started, I just wanted to mention a few collaboration rules to make sure that we're all on the same page. So to avoid some echo that we heard at the beginning, I will ask you, if it's not done yet, maybe to mute your microphone. But of course, if you have any question, you can unmute yourself. We'll be happy to hear from you. So you can also turn on your video. We'll be glad to see some of your faces as well. And like I mentioned, this meeting will be recording because we like to send the replay to the person who could not join us today. If you have any question, we will be very glad to hear from them. So do not hesitate to use the chats or maybe just to unmute the microphone to ask your question. And we will also use a Spark app. This is an application. Eric will explain you in a few minutes how does this work. And like you already are guessing, this full meeting will be in English. We know, we are aware that English is not your mother tongue. It's not mine either. But if we speak too fast or if there is anything that is not so clear, please let us know. We will be glad to repeat or to make some precision for you to make sure that you understand. So let me introduce myself first, because ladies first, sorry guys. But so my name is Ella. I'm part of Saint-Gobain group. I joined the group Saint-Gobain 10 years ago. And now for almost 2 years, I'm in the marketing and development department, the marketing team, central team. I'm based in Paris, and I'm one of the organizers of this great adventure, I would say, this architecture student contest that we organize with my colleagues. So Claudia and Paulina, they cannot be with us today, but they are also part of the organization. So we are mainly with Paulina and Claudia, part of the organization of the international stage. And I'm not working alone, of course, so I would probably let you start, Eric, to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Eda. So like Eda, I'm working also in the central team of Saint-Gobain Group. I'm part also of the organization team of the Architecture Student Contest. And my daily job is to work on sustainable construction for Saint-Gobain Group and all Saint-Gobain brands all over the world. Maybe we can let our Portuguese colleagues introduce themselves.
Of course, Vasco, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this meeting and welcome to Portugal, let's say. So my name is Vasco Pereira. I work in the Portuguese team. I'm responsible for training in Portugal, so I'm responsible for the Saint-Gobain Academy, local Saint-Gobain Academy. I belong to the marketing department that is run by Rita Bastos. She could not be with us today, but she sends her greetings to everybody and welcome to Portugal for this contest. Thank you.
So we're working closely with Vasco and also Rita, of course, our Portuguese colleague based in Portugal, to make sure that we have all the right feedback from them, as well as the 2023 edition of this competition will be in Lisbon. So because we also have some newcomers, new teachers in this journey, we felt that it's also a good opportunity for them to see in images what is this student contest by Saint-Gobain. So I'm going to play a short video for you to have like a flavor of this event. So the video that you will see It was recorded, before COVID. So it was the edition in Italy in 2019. So you will see it's people without mask and everything. So it was right before the COVID crisis. So we just wanted to give you a flavor and to see what looks like the international stage that we hopefully will have with you guys in 2023. So let's have a look to this video that I'm going to share right now.
I think that this year the students had really a very demanding and challenging task.
Oh, it was really difficult. We worked I think in a year.
Actually, this year contest task is not easy at all.
And they have all done perfect job in addressing the complexity of the challenge.
And I think these competitions allow you to be wrong and at the same time to see what others have done. So this venue, this event where you see 60 projects up in the wall, you look your own project, then you look the others. That is how you make the teaching more important, or let's say the learning more important.
It's an incredible chance for students that may really challenge against all the world on a real topic and task.
And so to really decide who's the winner took us this year more than 3 hours.
So thanks so much and welcome to Milan.
It's a very big adventure to be here, and we are so happy that we can win this competition.
So we are thankful to Saint-Gobain for this amazing opportunity, and it motivates us to even do more context and to work harder for greater experience.
I'm so happy and I'm full of happiness and I want to share it with all people.
So, like you have seen in this video, so it was called before the Multi-Confer Student Contest. So we have changed the name of this international competition. So I hope that you enjoyed this short video to give you a flavor of the international stage. And it was also nice to see you to show you, some interviews as well from teachers that came and joined us in this competition. So what is actually this architecture student contest by Saint-Gobain? So it's basically for students in architecture, design, and any discipline related to architecture. So like I mentioned, it's an international competition. The first edition was in 2004 in Serbia, and we organized one competition, one edition per year. So except for the COVID year, of course, we didn't, but usually it's one edition per year. And what is also very interesting is that we have a real task. It's actually, and you will see Vasco and Eric will explain you in a couple of minutes what will be the task for Portugal. But every year it's a real task on which the students will build their project. So it's a two-stage competition. So first we have the national stage. So each country will organize its national local events. And for the international level, so we take all the winners of local national stages that will participate to the international stage. So it's basically like the Olympic Games at the international level is the best of the best that will compete against themselves to hopefully have to get one of the prizes. I wanted also to give you another view about the edition that we will organize in Poland this year with some key figures. So for this year, 2022, we have 32 countries that participate to the competition. We have about 1,600 participants, students that have registered on the website to be part of this journey. And it's approximately 52 teams that will compete at the international level. And basically, we have approximately the same figures for every edition. So now, regarding today's Teachers' Day event, I just wanted to give you an overview about who is here. So we have approximately 150 teachers here digitally, about 26 different countries that I mentioned already. And it's about 82 universities. So welcome again. We are very glad to have all of you here. And the objective of today's and tomorrow's event is really, dear teacher, to allow you really to have a better and a good understanding of the contest task on which the project, the student will work on for the 2023 edition. Also, and you will see in the next presentation that we also wanted to give you another view of the city of Lisbon. We think it's important for you as well to know a little bit more this city to make sure that you have the main information for your student to work on the project that will be located in Lisbon. Also, because we are very aware that when you are engaged in the competition, that your feedback is really valuable for us. So we wanted to give you the opportunity really to contribute and to give us your feedback, your recommendation for the contest task, the final document that will be launched next month in June, for you to have the best criteria that you need, all the information and details that you need for your student to build the best project they can. So you are really, your opinion, what you think, and also your feedback and recommendation are really important. So you will contribute to the final contest task document that we will share first with you later on, and tomorrow we'll have the discussion actually to see what recommendation we can make and improvement. So, like I mentioned, the menu of today. So first, we'll have a presentation of the city for one of our, I would say, partners in this competition from the municipality of Lisbon. And then the second part of this meeting will be for Vasco and Eric to present you the contest task and the site. So you will see we have also some videos to make sure that you visualize better the contest task that we would like to propose to your student. And tomorrow it will be mainly about discussion. So we will have the question on SparkUp from you, and we will take the time to answer them, but also to hear you directly. So tomorrow will be no presentation, but only to discuss with all of you regarding the contest task. Okay, so now I think we can move on to the first part of the presentation with an overview of Lisbon. And Vasco, I will let you introduce our external speaker.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Ella. So we'll be meeting Luis Ruivo, architect Luis Ruivo. He belongs to the city hall of Lisbon, to the Bureau of Urban Planning, and he will be kind enough to introduce us to the city of Lisbon and a little bit also to its urban planning, in which this contest task that we are organizing will be integrated. Okay, Luis, the stage is yours. Welcome.
Okay. Good afternoon to everybody. I'm very pleased to be here, and I will share with you a presentation about city of Lisbon and its urban development in recent years, and the site is proposed for the contest. So, share. I think you all...
Yes, we can see it, yes.
Can see it, okay. So Lisbon, as you know, is sited in a large natural port on the Atlantic facade of Southern Europe. It's the center of a metropolitan area that spreads along both sides of the river Tagus, and it is a really crossroad between Europe, Americas, and Africa. As you see here, the estuary of the Tagus is the center of the metropolitan area. Lisbon is sited on the right side of the river, and the metropolitan area has those 18 counties that comprises all the metropolitan area that is populated with about 3 million people, and in Lisbon live only 500,000, more or less. And it's important to notice this. There are the natural parks, important natural parks in the metropolitan area, in the north Mafra, in the west Sintra, and in the south Sesimbra, along with the estuary of Tagus and estuary of Sado in the south. So what happened in the recent years in this area? Before 2012, that has been the implementation, the improvement of the master plan. Before that, Lisbon was decreasing the population, as you see here, and meanwhile, in the metropolitan area, the population was growing. So what happened is that many population from the city has moved outwards to the surrounding areas. So that means the mobility patterns were affected, and many people came every day to Lisbon, to the center of the city, to work, and that means the population in the city during the day almost doubled, and alongside with that, the individual transportation was increasing, and public transportation was decreasing. So that impacts really on the quality of life and pollution and so on. Along with that, many houses in the center of the city were vacant because they were in poor state and the people were leaving it. And as we see here, the general condition of the buildings were very bad, mainly in the center city here. So in 2012, the master plan intended to resolve, to face those problems, and the main strategy was to reuse, rehabilitate, and regenerate the existing city. So for that, the goals were to attract more inhabitants, attract more companies and jobs, stimulate urban rehabilitation, improvement of public spaces, return to riverfront for people's enjoyment, promote sustainable mobility, and increase environmental efficiency. Those were the aims of the master plan. And for that, we have also the other territorial management tools as urbanization plans, detailed plans, and also execution units for the smaller parts of the town. And in historic center, where the landfill of Boa Vista, that is the site we are proposing for the contest this year, we have also some detailed plans, safeguard plans, rehabilitation plans, and regeneration plans for those parts of the town that are not that are in bad condition. Those plans have the effect of reducing the time of approval of the permits as well as they were approved, and that the average time reduced also more or less as 1/3 of time. And at the same time, that leads to an improvement of the entering new process for rehabilitation of the buildings. As a result of the delimitation of a urban rehabilitation area that comprehends almost the entire city, at least all the area that is consolidated, that represents almost 92% of the buildings of the city. And for the rehabilitation of those buildings, there is a wide range of benefits, tax benefits, and VAT and municipal taxes for the property. So that improves really the conservation of the buildings, and mainly in the parishes of the central area here in red. You can see the permits that increased very rapidly in these areas. That the result is that many of these rehabilitation were done for the purpose of touristic purposes, so for bed and breakfast, local accommodation, and that occupied mainly the central area of the city. where the buildings were in poor condition and where the people have been moving out of there. So there were many vacant buildings and in very bad condition that were rehabilitated, but were mainly occupied with local accommodation. So to regulate that, the municipality has imposed some restraint areas on those more concentrated areas of local accommodation, and also at the same time has promoted an affordable housing program to build houses for people that middle class people could pay, because the rents were getting and the prices were rising very much for the houses. At the same time, the municipality promoted a program of square in every neighborhood, so that would create new centralities around the city that promote space for people to meet, to buy, to work, to enjoy, and to have a nice place to stay. So in the context of idea of the 15-minute city, where you can move around the neighborhood and do not need to go elsewhere else. Other challenges are the climate change. So we know in the time to come, it will decrease the precipitation, but it will increase in winter, especially in extreme weather events, and sea rise level will rise, and the temperature also will increase. So we have Lisbon. I'm sorry. It's good. I hear some feedback. No, that's okay. So the Lisbon strategy for adaptation to climate change has two main axes, as the climate mitigation with programs for saving energy and water saving program, and the climate adaptation and drainage master plan and the green infrastructure plan also. So on what concerns flooding vulnerability, it is mainly in the valleys, of course, and in the river, the riverfront. And we mapped also the impact, the events that occurred and that caused some damage in the years, so we can see where it occurs more frequently. And to avoid that, we have the Lisbon Drainage Master Plan that is going to build two big tunnels that intercept the drainage system in the basins, the main basins, and conducts the water that is to the river, that the excess water that when there's events of extreme weather occur. So, and also complemented with natural-based solutions like the irrigation basins and the naturalization of the creeks. Also, we have a study about the sea rise level effect that we can see here on the riverside. That is very very much accentuated, and even also for the tsunami that is studied in combination with the sea level rise and the water the tides. And we can see mainly in the west riverside is the effect is very extreme and catastrophic if nothing is done. So one of the measures we are adopting in the riverside is to elevate the ground floor and also have restrain the uses of permanent uses as residential uses or sensitive uses in the ground floors of these areas. Also, another effect we have to deal with is the urban heat island. As you see, it mainly occurred in the area more densely populated in the center and alongside the river. And for that, we have also the plan of the green infrastructure reinforced with the green spaces, boulevards, and integrated built-up areas in green spaces. We have also the retention basins, as I said, and also the rehabilitation of private gardens inside the blocks. Also, another measure is the redesign of the valleys, the landscape in the valleys that is with more green areas and renaturalization of the creeks along the valley. It is in the Alcantara Valley. And now we have here the area of that is proposed for the contest. That is the Boa Vista landfill, and it has a detailed plan for this area that I will show briefly. This area is between as you see, between the river and the hill of Bairro Alto. That is the first regulated area of expansion of the city in the 16th century. But this landfill was made for industrial purposes, so to implement an industrial area, sanitize this area that was very in bad condition in the 19th century. So this was constructed in the final 19th century for industrial purposes, and was implemented here the first gas plant of the city. And nowadays is the headquarters of the electricity company, and besides it is the site we are proposing you to this contest. This is a plan of the early 20th century, and what are the objectives for the Boa Vista landfill? The regeneration of the urban fabric, create a new urban polarity, a requalification of public space, articulation with the surrounding area. And principles of intervention are spatial organization, urban design and volumetry, green space, requalification of infrastructure, and flexibilization of uses. You see here the design of the Boa Vista Eastern landfill. That is here, more or less, is the area we are proposing for you to this contest. These are the uses that are in the plan. So housing minimum 25%, services 20% minimum, and trade commerce between 5 and 20%, and tourism maximum of 20%. So it is an area of maximum floor surface of 68 and 500 square meters in the whole area to be developed. That is here in the blue line, within the blue line here, that are the new buildings to be constructed. Also, we want the plan listed buildings that should be preserved and be rehabilitated in the area. So the area we are proposing is this here, that is represented here. We have two buildings, building A, an existing building, and building B, a new building, and an external area that links to the other buildings that are being constructed here. The objectives of the regeneration of this area are to create new patterns of urban functions and enhance modernity and attract innovative and emerging ways of life and activities, the expansion and requalification of the public space, densification of tree cover and vegetation, areas of rainwater infiltration, promotion of small cultural centers. These are the main objectives. So you have building A, this building exists, the existing building that is to maintain, and where we propose to install the Lisbon Video Library, so kind of small cultural center, and the building B to be a new building that with the purpose of mainly residential uses, and also some commercial or in the ground floor. In the area nearby, there are now in development the other projects. This is an office for the Company of Electricity by Alejandro Aravena, and in the back, this new building. This building is to be retrofitted into an hotel, small hotel, by José Luís Carrilho da Graça, a Portuguese architect, and the area we are proposing is next to the right here. So it's what I have to present you, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Luis, for this very complete and clear overview of the built heritage of Lisbon, and also the master plan for urban development and adaptation to climate change. You have unveiled a bit already the task and the site. Now what we suggest is to
we can go home.
We can not yet.
I'm sorry.
No. It was great. No, it was great. And now what we propose is to go a bit more in details into the contest task and the technical requirements, especially. And before going into details with Vasco, we wanted to share with you the tool we are going to use today and tomorrow to interact together around this contest task, because as Ella said, the most important during those two sessions is to have your feedback. in order to make some progress on the current contest task. So to do that, just like we did last year for those who were there already, we want you to take your phone. It looks like this. And you can scan the QR code, which you can see here on my screen. Or if not, you can type in the browser the address you have here to have access to SparkUp, and then enter a code, which looks like this. Ella has shared in the chat a link if you want to interact and using your computer instead of your phone, but you can use both. Please edit your name. That's something very important because we have to know who asked the questions to better adapt our answer. So you can click on edit and type your real name if possible. And finally, write any comments you may have, either remarks or improvement ideas. This link, you'll be able to use it, of course, over the next hour, where we are going to go deeper into the contest task, but also afterwards. So after this session and before the session of tomorrow, you can continue writing any comments, any idea, and it will be the basis of our discussion tomorrow. I hope it is clear and hope it's working well. SparkUp. If it's not the case, do not hesitate to raise your hand.
Maybe, Eric, I would just ask this precision. So after this meeting, I will send to all of you the document, the contest task document. So it will be a PDF, but also the videos that Eric and Vasco are going to show you in a few minutes. So you will have time to review, the thing that we are going to present you, and then to put your questions into the SparkUp. So, and you will have until tomorrow, 10 a.m. French time, because we need a couple of times also to make sure that we collect all the answers that we are going to give you in the second session tomorrow afternoon. Just this precision, but you can go ahead, Eric.
Thank you, Ella. It's clear for everyone? Yes. So you all have SparkUp on your phone or on your laptop? I hope so. And so if it takes a bit of time, you have the access in the chat with the links shared by Ella. So we are not together, unfortunately, in Lisbon, but we wanted to share with you, as far as possible, the flavor of the city. And that's why we have been working on a video sharing a bit more about Lisbon in an immersive way, you will see, and also a bit more about the plot, the site where the contest task will take place, and the task in itself. So I'm going to share right now this video. Here we are. Normally you should have the sound. It can happen sometimes for bad connections reasons that it's a bit hashed or you don't hear very well the sound of the video. If it's the case, please use the link shared by Ella also in the chat to have a look at the video directly on your computer. Enjoy the video. It's 10 minutes video to emerge in Lisbon and in the contest task.
This video aims to share with you elements of context and description for the location of the task for the 2023 edition of the Architecture Student Contest by Saint-Gobain. As you know, the task will take place in Portugal, in its capital city, Lisbon. The challenge for the competitors will consist on the urban rehabilitation of an area close to the city center. This area belongs to the municipality and is currently used by some city services. The task will ask for the renovation of one existing building to be reused for a new cultural activity, for the project of a new residential building, and for the urban design of the ground public space that connects these buildings. We want to give, as far as possible, a flavor of Lisbon for those who don't know yet this wonderful city. Thanks to drone views, we want you to visualize the city and the area of the task, its life and atmosphere. The city is located on the right bank of the Tagus River, very close to its estuary, where it meets the Atlantic Ocean. It is a very large river in this zone, meaning that the other bank is at least 2 kilometers away in its narrow zone. So, the river looks almost as if it was the sea for the pedestrians walking along its bank. Lisbon is a very old city, already existing under the name of Alicipo in the time of the Roman Empire. Its relation with the river and the sea close by was always the driver for its existence and development, allowing the city to become the main engine of a global economy with the Portuguese discoveries around the world and the overseas expansion from the 15th century. The city slowly started to grow outside the medieval walls in the early 16th century. To the west, with the first urban planned street designed in the Bairro Alto Hill, under a set of rules established by the king, and the area of Belém by the river, becoming the intercontinental port of Lisbon. On November 1st, 1755, Lisbon was violently shaken by a powerful and unexpected earthquake, followed by an overwhelming tidal wave that severely destroyed the city. It was the motivation for a complete renovation of the city center urban design, with the demolition of the ruined old medieval streets to implement geometric street organization around a big rectangular square facing the river, the Comércio Square. Came the final part of the 19th century and the city development started to look north, away from the river, with the construction of the iconic Liberdade Avenue, the Lisbon Boulevard inspired by the Champs-Élysées in Paris. It is nowadays the most glamorous and expensive area in Lisbon. Along the river, the city continued to develop around activities related to maritime trade, with many industrial and storage buildings being built. This happened along with the transformation of the river shores, changing from sand beaches to mooring docks for ships, through landfills throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This was the case for the area where the task is located. It is called the East Boa Vista Embankment, and its construction started around 1855 with the intention of sanitizing a dirty and degraded industrial area made up of a succession of small ravines and private landfills that served the small industries that were growing in a disorganized manner. One of the major initiatives was to build a new straight street parallel to the river, Dom Luís I Street, crossing the area, which is the front street of the contest task plot. In this city area, the land lots are historically organized perpendicularly to the river and with long and narrow shape, originated from the old buqueirões, which were the river branch penetrations inside the land that served as access to the warehouses installed there. The task of the 18th edition of the International Saint-Gobain Architecture Student Contest is to develop a proposal for the revitalization with public and cultural use of a plot included in the Boa Vista Embankment urban area, currently belonging to the City Hall, with some buildings that are used as a hub for several municipal services. The task proposes that the area under study should be redefined to be used as a local cultural center, oriented for audiovisual art combined with residential functions. To introduce this Lisbon area, we interviewed architect Filipa Roseta, city councillor for urban planning.
Hello everyone, I'm Filipa Roseta. I'm an architect and I'm now city councillor in the city of Lisbon. I'm here with you today to present you with a challenge, an architectural challenge. We want to reinvent the city core. We want to redesign an area around the new Lisbon Video Library. And we want to reinvent housing around this area. We want you to think about what a new urban path could be connecting the river to the city core. We ask you for your ideas, and we want to do this within the spirit of the new European Bauhaus, an idea that needs to be green, sustainable, inclusive, and above all, beautiful. So we thank Saint-Gobain for giving us the opportunity to provide this challenge in a worldwide manner for architectural students all around the world. And the winner might just be built. So we are looking forward for your ideas.
The task is intended to be developed on a plot that is very integrated in the urban fabric, based on the development plan defined to this area. It is surrounded by existing and under construction buildings and streets that organize this urban fabric. The task proposal respects what is forecasted on the mentioned development plan that proposes the renovation of some of the existing buildings, the demolition of others, and the construction of a new one. All of this aiming to allow new urban use of the area. Therefore, the task is divided in 3 challenges with different requirements. Before coming to the challenges, it is important to mention that a number of existing buildings in the plot area are intended to be demolished. Specifically, the ones that currently exist on the west side of the plot are to be considered in the work to be done as non-existing. The first challenge regards the renovation of one of the existing buildings in the plot that we called Building A. This building was built in the early decades of the 20th century to accommodate the public hygiene services. It is a 3-story building with a reinforced concrete structure still used nowadays by the urban hygiene and also by the cultural city services. The ground level floor is organized in quite open areas that work mostly as storage and maintenance facilities. The first and second floors are used as offices. The second floor exists on the rooftop attic with its windows emerging from the roof. It is a long building organized facing the interior of the plot with almost 100 meters of facade in a very regular metric of around 5-meter distance between visible pillars that mark a very regular facade rhythm. This rhythm is also set by the regular windows and doors closed with visible brick arches. Its intended new function is to be used as a video library, making available to public and investigators the archive of audiovisual contents about Lisbon. The new function should include auditory, exhibition room, cafeteria, video servicing areas, deposit and archive, private visioning areas, and so on, organized in an entirely reshaped interior. The second challenge regards the construction of a new building that we named Building B. Its location is well defined on the development plan, taking into account the location of surrounding buildings, existing or under construction. It will be positioned in perpendicular orientation from the Dom Luís I Street, which is the main access to the interior of the plot area. On the west side is under construction a new building that will have the same maximum height of 26.2 meters that will be used as office building for EDP, the National Electric Power Company. On the other side of the Dom Luís I Street, there already exists another imposing building that also belongs to EDP as its headquarters. Building B is intended for residential use. Its use will be divided in 3 areas. The ground floor will be entirely dedicated to external access to elevated floors and to commerce or service activities, specifically galleries, ateliers, and innovation businesses, startup type. The elevated floors use will be divided in 2 separated areas. 75% of useful floor area will be dedicated for private apartments, 60% one bedroom, and 40% two bedrooms. The remaining 25% will be dedicated for co-living spaces, organized in independent living units of maximum 35 square meters to be used by resident artists of the Audiovisual Center. This area will also include supporting common services and living areas. The third challenge is to design the ground exterior space inside the plot, allowing the interconnection between the buildings and the quarter crossing and connection with surrounding streets. It will include public green spaces to be used as enjoyment spaces. Specifically, the pedestrian connection with the Boa Vista Street existing on the north limit of the area should be assured by crossing the archway that exists under the building that faces this street. This path is critical to ensure the access from south to north, allowing the route to the Bairro Alto Hill behind, a well-known night amusement neighborhood. This was a short description of the city, the plot area, and the task to be developed. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. I come back right now to our presentation. So that was the first video we wanted to share with you, explaining a bit about Lisbon, the area, and the plot in itself, and the task, of course. What you'll have also at your disposal to go a bit further is this kind of video, which we called a 360 video. We did already this kind of video for Warsaw edition. Just to share with you, it looks like this. And I'm sharing. So here to let you know a bit how it works. So you have this focus effect on the plot. And then once you arrive at the street level, you can use your YouTube video by clicking on your mouse and have this 360 immersive experience on the street. If you want to see where you are on the ground, on the floor, you have an access to the map and where you stand here on the point number 1. Okay? And you can continue like this. If I won't go through all the video, but here I'm somewhere else. So you see I'm in the point number 4. So near the building B to be built. So on the cars parking today. Here you see the building A. So it allows to have a precise view and immersive view of the plot. Okay. So we'll be able, of course, to share the first video, which is the contest task description, and the 360 video for complete knowledge regarding the contest task. Up. I hope those tools will be useful to you. We continue with the presentation. And Vasco, I leave you the floor to.
Okay,
for
thank you, Eric.
For this.
Okay, so now in the two following slides, we will make a kind of a summary regarding the information that was already shared. So the plot is very, very integrated in the urban fabric in a very consolidated area regarding streets and so on, but it's a changing area because there is this urban plan, this detailed urban plan, that is really the basis for the task that we are proposing. So the implementation of the buildings is very well defined in this plan, and so we have to take it into account, which is many times the way that architects have to face their projects. It's when it is integrated in the detailed plan, which is the case. So there are rules that there are basic rules that have to be followed, and this is really the case. So as was explained some occasions, we have three challenges. The first one is to renovate, reuse one existing building that we called Building A. And the proposed goal for this building was proposed by the City Hall. It's a plan the City Hall already had for this building, is to really create this new Lisbon video library, which will be make available for the public, for the investigators and so on, all the media and video things that exist since a long time about the city of Lisbon, and allowing people to know, to study, and to investigate about it. So the idea is to have regular visitors and that come to investigate and that need some lodging, and that is a little bit the purpose of Building B. So Building B is a residential building, a new one with the implementation already defined, very well defined, following the rules that was explained by Luís Ruivo. The ground floor is for non-permanent use, let's say, or non-residential use, just for commerce or service use and to access to the building. And the idea is to use this building to have two kinds of uses. The main use will be 75% of the use will be for apartments to be put into the market, residential to rent or to sell, and 25% of the area will be for in the concept of co-living, to accommodate visiting artists or resident artists in the video library, Lisbon Video Library, and to have some temporary lodging available. So together with some commercial and service areas in the ground floor. So this is mainly the idea for this Building B. The third challenge is to design the interconnection between these buildings and to connect all the area, also the allowing some crossing, some path from the river side to the north, to the upper hill behind the plot, and to use this external area as an enjoyment area. Green space with good use of the water that comes from the rain and so on, and also to connect between the two buildings on the left side that are, one of them is under construction at this time, and the other one, as mentioned, will be the green building, the green area that appears on the top, will be a renovation of an existing building to be used as a hotel. So the idea of this external area is to connect all these things that are happening here and to allow this circulation of people through the plot. Okay, so we can go on. Eric, please. Thank you. So we have established a number of requirements for these three challenges. And the idea for building A is to have what we call in Portuguese anteprojeto. So it's a kind of a draft, not too detailed project. So just to have an idea of the organization of the spaces, answering to the design program. Really, the City Hall has already established, and it's a little bit described in detail in the contest task text, the file that will be made available. And it is very well defined, the program that will be implemented. And more or less the minimum areas of each purpose space. So the idea is that the students should make not a too detailed proposal for this building, but to have an idea of how it should be organized to answer this program, and to have a proposal, generic proposal, let's say, for the renovation solutions to be implemented. Building B is the one that will have the most demanding requirements, let's say. So it's the new building, and the idea is that this building should be designed in the profound detail, with taking into account all the solutions and the technical details of the building, and also taking into account the energy efficiency, the acoustic efficiency, solutions to answer these demands, and also to have a life cycle assessment of the building performed. Okay, so this is the task, the part of the task that we ask to be more detailed. Finally, the third challenge, the external area. The idea is also to have a basic representation, to have an idea, generic idea, how it should be designed, and how it should be used to answer the ideas that the urban plan has for this area, and to be a little bit showing how a user should or is expected to feel the space using these 3D perspectives and views and photographs, and so we want to have a feeling of how the external space should impress, let's say, the people walking through. Okay, I keep available for your questions if there is needed. I don't know. There are also already some questions. We leave it to the end, Eric. I don't know.
Maybe we could shortly comment the question from Mr. Bouzid Boudiaf. Will it be possible to have access to the documents? So as said, yes, all those documents, videos, contest tasks will be sent by Ella just after the meeting. So you have the complete documents.
Also the basic drawings that already exist regarding the existing building and also the urban planning.
Yes, absolutely. For building A, will it be possible to have the graphical document with the structural plan and the materials used in the facades?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, but do not hesitate to react in the chat. If we have time, we'll be pleased to answer. Otherwise, again, it will be the basis of the discussion tomorrow. And also, please use SparkUp for any questions, remarks, or ideas. We continue with the presentation, and we wanted to So we have seen the contest task. Before coming to the technical parameters and the performances to be reached, especially for the new building, building B, we wanted to explain to you a bit the vision of construction and architecture for us at Saint-Gobain. It's well summarized on the slide we are sharing right now. It's all about building better for the people and for the planet. Can seem some vague words, but we're going to detail a bit what's behind those concepts. First, it's all about reducing as far as possible the environmental footprint of the construction sector. And here we can see two main topics, two main pillars regarding better building for the planet. First, energy and carbon. The second one is resources and circularity. To go a bit further, when we talk about energy and carbon, our vision at Saint-Gobain is a fabric-first approach, meaning that first we have to minimize as far as possible the energy need of the building, thanks to insulation and thanks to a performant envelope of the building, of course. And then the remaining energy needs, supply it as far as possible, thanks to renewable energies. One thing important, which is a growing topic in the construction and in architecture, and I guess it's a trend you can see, is embodied carbon. In some countries, in average, and let's say in average, it's around 50% of the whole life cycle carbon for the building. And it's very important also to tackle this topic thanks to lightweight solutions or thanks to low carbon solutions, materials used in the construction phases. So this is the first pillar about energy and carbon. The second one on planet side, let's say, is resources and circularity. On whole life cycle, it's all about reducing as far as possible the use of non-renewable resources, thanks to solutions with high recycle content, for instance. Thanks also to reuse of material as far as possible. It's all about also water topics and with the reduced freshwater consumption. Last but not least, I would say it's the lifetime, the whole lifetime of the building. We should design building taking into account the longevity of the building and also taking into account the end of life of the building and the recovery of the materials in end of life, being sure that they are reusable or recyclable in end of life and that we valorize the waste. So this was for the building better for the planet. How do we reduce our footprint in the construction? On the other side, on the right of the slide, it's all about building better for the people. And here it's about enhance, maximize, let's say, the positive impact on the health and the well-being of two categories of people. First, the installers on the job site, and second, the occupants of the building. I'll make just a quick focus on the right of the slide. There's someone, if you can please mute your mic. Thank you very much. On the health and well-being indoors, here we talk about the comforts, improve indoor air quality, better acoustics, better thermal comfort, and better visual comfort, basically improve access to natural light. So you see, you have 13 drivers defining what's a sustainable building for us at Saint-Gobain. It's not an invention from us. This framework is inspired by lots of existing framework at European level, for instance, Levels, which is the European framework for sustainable and high-performance buildings. Saint-Gobain has been involved in this framework for many years now. The World Green Building Council has built, for instance, a health and well-being framework, and this framework is inspired by those existing ones. So just to explain a bit our vision at Saint-Gobain of sustainable construction. If we go a bit deeper now on some of those topics, starting with the better for the planet part. And we tried here to propose some thresholds, some values, some performances to be reached to reach the correct level of sustainability. If we start with the first pillar, remember carbon and energy. Here, what you find on this slide are for instance, for the energy efficiency, the heating demand, annual heating demand, which must be consistent with the passive house standard, so below 15 kWh per square meter and per year. And you'll find also the U values, thermal transmission coefficient values, for roofing, external wall, for floors, for windows, that we want to reach in this contest task. As far as possible, and we know it's a challenge, we wanted that the new building shouldn't use any air conditioning equipment. It's a challenge, but any idea and are welcome to reach that. Of course, you can reach that thanks to passive measure, for instance, sun shading, light colors for exterior surfaces, green roof or facades, but also active measures such as ventilation. On this carbon and energy topic, so you remember I talked about energy efficiency, renewable energies. I talked also about embodied carbon, and we know it's a growing topic to be tackled in the construction sector, which represent about 40% of global CO2 emissions in the world. So we have to work on this topic. That's why, just like for the Warsaw edition, we'd like to ask to the students to deliver a life cycle analysis thanks to the one-click LCA tool of the new building, meaning a calculation of the carbon emission on the whole life cycle. And if possible, a few ideas on how to minimize, of course, this embodied carbon. So that was the first main pillar on carbon and energy, and a few requirements that we'll ask to the students. The second one on the Better for Planet side is resources and circularity. On that topic, I won't go into many details, but we have two things to have in mind. First, building a circular building is a long-lasting building. So the new building should be designed for longevity, flexible in use, possibly adaptable as far as possible, for instance. And the second main topic is resource-efficient materials, product systems made with a minimum use of non-renewable primary raw materials, which means, as I said, maximum share of recycled content, for instance, installation which shall generate minimum amount of waste also. So that was a few insights on the Better for the Planet part. If we come to the Better for the People, remember, and the health and well-being indoors for the occupants of the building. Here we go through the four main topics, acoustics, access to natural light, but also indoor air quality and thermal comfort. If we start with acoustics, what we ask is to reach the level which you can see on the slide here for airborne sound insulation and also for impact sound insulation between the different floors, for instance. There are some solutions that provide improved airborne and impact sound insulation, such as glass, windows or facade, partitions, or mineral wools, flooring solutions, for instance, which can improve the level of acoustics within the building, so within living units and also between living units. One important point is that participants are also advised to analyze the level of noise generated by the technical equipment, the HVAC, so heating and ventilation, and if necessary, propose solutions to reduce it as far as possible. Second main drivers regarding health and well-being and the building better for the people is improve access to natural light and visual comfort. So the indicators we want to spotlight here is daylight autonomy. At least 60% must be achieved. I remember that the daylight autonomy is a percentage of annual daytime hours for which a given point registers illumination levels above a specific level, which is 300 lux in that case. And the ratio windows of the floors should not be lower than 1 above 8. Okay, I'm sure you recognize for the older of you who have gone through lots of former student contests. There's nothing new regarding those value and those performance. If we continue with indoor air quality, the third drivers on the third driver on health and well-being for the occupants. Here, what we ask is to focus on CO2 concentration with a maximum of 1,000 parts per million, ppm, inside the building. To reach that, of course, we can rely on ventilation, and that's why we propose here an example of threshold of minimum ventilation rate per person. Last but not least, the global thermal comfort. We measure it thanks to percentage of time inside the hygrothermal zone, meaning, for instance, we should avoid overheating, so temperature above 25 degrees, for instance, and measure as percentage of the total period, we must be below 10%. And as I said already, preferably no air conditioning, thanks to passive and active measures, such as ventilation. I hope it was clear. So I have tried to detail first the vision on sustainable construction, sustainable architecture, and the few drivers, the few performance to reach on all those topics on environmental footprint first, energy and carbon, circularity and resources, and also on health and well-being, enhanced health and well-being for the occupant, thanks to the four comforts I've been able to introduce. Let's continue then with Lisbon climate, but Vasco can talk a bit more on that.
Coming to the Lisbon climate, it's a very exigent issue. The climate conditions in the area. So, as probably you will know, Lisbon is what we can call a Mediterranean climate. So it's a warm, mild temperature zone, not too high temperatures in the summer, and not too cold temperatures in the winter time. So the climate in Lisbon is influenced by the Gulf Stream, which, as we know, tends to make the climates more exigent, more extreme, less extreme, let's say. The air temperature resulting of this ranges between around 14 degrees in January to 21 in July, so it's not too high. But sorry, there's an error. It's 31, not 21. I have to correct it. It's not too demanding climate. Anyway, it's a little bit warm in summertime. Another thing that is relevant for this city is the available sun hours. It's quite high. Lisbon is what we can call a bright city. Also taking advantage of the big areas of the river, big areas of water that can reflect in a very interesting way the total of sun hours that are available. So it can be up to around 350 hours per month in the summertime. Okay, I'll give to you again, Eric.
Thank you, Vasco. Yeah, just to quickly answer to a question in the chat, there is no energy efficiency calculation. Yes, there is. As I said, we asked for energy need and U values, which must be calculated using PHPP tools or any other tools that you might use in your universities. If I come to the judging criteria, so 4 main judging criteria for the project delivered by the students. The first one, of course, is architecture for 40% of the weight. design excellence, functional concepts, taking into account regional and urban aspects. Technical criteria for 30%, so which means basically complying with the Saint-Gobain criteria I've been able to detail. The 2 topics, people and planet, to be reached. Also fire safety, basic fire safety requirements are important. Construction details for 20%, meaning the quality and consistency of the proposed construction details with regard to buildings physics. How do you take into account thermal, acoustic bridges, air tightness, moisture management also? And last but not least, the usage of our product at Saint-Gobain. You may know our offer in terms of glazing, of course, insulation, partitions, ethics of what, or ethic systems or whatever, or mortar systems. So the use of those products and how they contribute to the sustainable construction vision I've been able to share will be, of course, valuable for the international jury, national and international jury. Okay. So we are on time.
Yes, perfectly on time.
Ella, I let you.
Yes, thank you, Eric. So for the closing, so thank you first of all for your participation. The question we already received on SparkUp, I've checked. We have already many of them, and yes, good. So we will go over them tomorrow, like we mentioned. And for the couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys. Yes, so the next step. So in few minutes, I'm going to send to all of you an email with the links with the 2 videos that Eric shared. So the presentation of the contest task, but also the 360 immersive video. So you will receive the link into the email that I will send just after. You will also receive the contest task document. So it's a PDF with all the details that we have at the moment regarding the task of the 2023 competition. Of course, with your question and the discussion tomorrow, this will allow us, with your feedback and recommendation, to adapt and to improve this document that I'm going to share with you today. So the one I'm going to share, it's a draft, and it will be completed with your inputs that we will discuss tomorrow. Also, like we already mentioned, the SparkUp on which you can put your questions and your recommendation of any idea of improvement regarding the task will be open until tomorrow. So it will be at the most at 10 a.m. The deadline is 10 a.m. French time for you to put your question, recommendation on SparkUp regarding the contest task. So if in like maybe 10 or 15 minutes you haven't received my email, which means that I don't have your email, you can contact directly your Saint-Gobain local representative because they will receive my email so they can forward it to you directly. That will be the easiest way. So the email is ready to go. I will send it like in 1 minute. So if you don't have it in like 10 minutes, just ask your Saint-Gobain contact, your local contact, for it directly. And last but not least, so tomorrow, like we already mentioned, so we will connect same time, and we will have the discussion. So we will prepare the answers to your question, and any improvement that you made, we will comment about them. And of course, if you don't have time to put your question in the SparkUp, we still have time, you know, to have your question live tomorrow on the chat, or you can just unmute your mic tomorrow and ask your question or make any recommendation of or feedbacks. Was it clear? I don't know if you have any question regarding the organization or how should it work tomorrow. If you do, we still have a few minutes, of course, to answer them. But the last word I will say is thank you for your participation. We will see you tomorrow. We'll be glad to welcome you again tomorrow on this last day of the Teachers' Day event digitally. So take care, guys. Have a good evening, have a good afternoon, have a good day, depending of where you are located. It was nice to meet you, to meet you, and we see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Bye. See you
Goodbye,
tomorrow.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you.
See you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye.